Welcome to Coach Soul, the podcast where we explore therapeutic ways to the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, Steve Hudgins. I'm a licensed professional counselor dedicated to helping you navigate life's challenges. In each uplifting episode, we'll discuss mental health, relationships, self-care, emotional well-being, and personal growth. Join me and with my co-host, Kenya Evelyn, a therapeutic life coach, where sometimes we'll even welcome special guests to our show that share their experience and expertise. So let's embark on this transformative path together and discover a healthier and happier you. All right, welcome back to Coach Soul. Christmas is over. Kenya, the excitement that's there, it's interesting to open up gifts. And then you hear on the news about long lines of people just returning the gifts they didn't like. What do you do?
Honestly, it's hysterical and it's a blessing. Because sometimes you love it and it's the wrong size and doesn't fit well. And
right.
I love being in this country to have the option to do that. Do you know that this does not exist in Brazil? There's no returns.
Really?
No returns. Once it's out of the door, it's out the door. No money back, no size, no nothing.
So does that become the white elephant gift for next year? We have Christmas parties, right? It's just interesting in how we just live life sometimes. And when you think about it, Christmas is over. We celebrate, as faith-based people, we celebrate the birth of Christ this time of year.
Yes.
Right? But then it's like we hit this doom and gloom. Yes, we're still in the holiday spirit. Yeah. New Year's is right around the corner. We got about 4 days until New Year's, Kenya. And it's like,
so exciting. So
no
exciting.
Holidays until May, so to speak. So that's 5 months, unless you work for the government and you get more holidays than we get. So it comes with a price sometimes, and things can get so heavy. And I know we're fixing to talk about some heavy stuff, but it's really needed to understand, this time of year, sometimes holidays are tough on people because of death in the family or hardships. Those who overspend have to face paying the bills, so to speak. We're starting a new era of an administration in 20, 30 days from now.
Yes. So for me, I love Christmas. I love Christmas. It's such a gift in this life to have the experience to be a mama and watch the previous Christmas and watch them grow and just have a family where I know that my imprint is there. I know that God's imprint is there. I love gifts. Gifts is one of my love languages. Actually, my husband would say that all 4 is my love language, like all 5 is my love language, 7, whatever. But gifts is definitely one of them. And it lights me up. And for me, gifts could be a thing or a card or a flower is the gesture of, I thought of you and now I have an evidence that you've thought of me. I can hold, you see it's just delicious for my experience. I love that so much. And, my mom is sick. And she's spending the Christmas with us. It is so beautiful to experience her alive. And it's also sad to see her going down. And I miss my grandmother and I miss, this is my experience. I know that for our dear listeners, there is a multitude of experiences through Christmas. Maybe you, dear listeners, you have your family and you're excited to see your little kid become a big kid and a teenager and you're receiving your grandkids at home. Or maybe you are not. Maybe you're alone. Maybe you're
Yes.
Maybe you want to be alone. It's not that you left alone. It's like, I don't want any drama. I'm just going to stay put, have my cocoa, my fire going. I don't know. And I just want to offer you that this season is a season of warmth. I feel very close to my heart that this is a season where people from Thanksgiving forward, around Thanksgiving, November, December, people do become more filled of compassion, generally speaking, Steve. You know, the food banks overflow with food. And I remember going to National Food Bank, and they say, we actually need this all year long, y'all. Not just November, December. Like, we love that, but it would be amazing to have consistency in the hearts open throughout the year, not just this part of year. And yet they're super grateful to have it. So I guess the invitation here is to look at, there's perspective in every side. And Christmas for itself, like I went to FedEx to mail some things for my sister, and they have all the above, right? The Festival of Light for the Hindu, and Kwanzaa for the Africans, and a Christmas tree for Christians, and I forgot the name of the other symbol, Hanukkah
Menorah?
for the yes, for the Judas, yes, for the Jews. And I love that there encompasses every culture and simplifying and visualize and simplifying that we are one, because we are. So for us, Christmas, for us Christians, I can't speak English today. My goodness, let me take a breath.
You know, it's
this is live.
It is, and
this is live, you guys.
What's so interesting, Kenya, is the fact that we have a variety of different cultures that celebrate the birth of Christ. And, you know, it's interesting because when we hit this after Christmas, everything seems to go back to normal.
The energy
goes
fades,
down.
and now you see the debt.
Right. And you go into your corner, you huddle down, you know, snow starts to fall. You know, it's that hunkering time. You know, December the 21st, 22nd is your winter solstice, and it lasts till about February, March. And so it's that time like to be a bear. Do you become grumpy, or you just go to sleep and hibernate and become fat? You know, because that's what bears do.
That's funny.
And so, but here's the thing. Does the moments become a memory? And the memory fades as the years go on and on and on. I mean, I can remember when I was 5 or 6 years old and opening up my Christmas present, and it was a train set that I've always wanted because I love trains. I still have that train set, by the way.
Oh, how sweet.
It's 50 something years old.
How sweet.
I still have it, and it still works. But the memory that goes with it is because of the experience that I have with my grandfather, because he's the one that bought that for me, and just the experience of setting it up with my dad, my uncle, my grandfather. We were all just playing in the kitchen floor with it, because that's doesn't operate very well on a rug. You got to have it on a tile or something like that. And so where I'm going with this is that relationships are important.
Correct.
And it can get tough this time of year where things start to happen. Our focus is on the joy of Christmas and the excitement. And then all of a sudden, it's just this, somebody unplugged the music at the party, and somebody's a Debbie Downer at the party, and it just goes poof. and events happen and we start to question, is there a God? Because the experiences that we have, I mean, Kenya, I think we all been there. Going through the cancer that I have, thank God I don't have that anymore, that I've survived it and I have a long time to live as long as you don't kill me and I don't walk in front of a bus. So, I'm happy. But that single moment when we are hit with disparity, it's how do we keep this freshness alive that Christ is still alive even after we celebrate it, and it gets just overshadowed with commercialism?
Thank you for this question. I have no doubt in my life, in my mind and in my life that God is alive. I had so many experiences that symbolizes this knowing. It's not because I read in the Bible that what he was, he is, and forever will be, which I believe that, but that will be something outside of me. It has taken me years to say the word, I'm one with God. That's how I feel in the depths and all around, not just in the depth of my DNA, of my cells. I feel God in me. I feel that oneness. I feel that protection. I feel that caring. I feel that discernment. I call my intuition the Holy Spirit. One of my darkest experience as a human being has been spending 6 months in an orphanage where my mama had just come out of a very nasty divorce. He's no longer in this earth, so I can say this out loud because I don't want to pass it on any judgment. But my experience of him was not a good person. So when they divorced, there was nothing. He wiped her bank account. He took the car. He took everything. My mom stopped working as a teacher. She had 3 jobs before to be married to him, to become the person that she dreamed to become, like a helper, a mate, a person where to become one. Like she wanted that for her. And I wanted that for her. And when this happened, our family of 4, which was my grandmother, my mom, my sister, and I, we completely got separated. So my mom dropped me in an orphanage because she truly could not pay for food. And she put my sister in another school where my sister worked for her keep. She put, my grandmother took a full-time job in somebody's home, and my mom took another full-time job in somebody else's home. And it was 180 nights in the dark. The little 11-year-old version of me could not understand what was happening because I have a mom and she's, I would see like the profile of the people around me is like, my mom is very different. Like I have a home. What am I doing here? It was so confusing. It was confusing for my faith. It was confusing for the little girl that I was. Usually I say the little girl inside of me, but no, I was, I promise you, dear listeners, I was with God every night because it was the only thing keeping me sane. God, are you there? Are you here? What's going on? And this conversation started because my little girl, my actual little girl, my daughter, asked me just a few nights ago, Mom, is God real? Actually, it wasn't a few nights ago, it was last month. And I love that she asked it for me so we could process those. I welcome questions. Parents welcome every question. Like, this is your moment.
It is.
You want them, we want them to ask to you, not to somebody else. And I said, tell me more. Where did you hear this? And she's like, I just don't know. Could he be made up? Just so people would not be themselves? It was so profound for a 9-year-old. Like I put her little fingers out and like, okay, put 2 fingers out. Like, this is God. This is what I learned. This is exactly what I led my daughter. I said, imagine that this is God and imagine that this is the devil. In church, I heard my entire life, if you're doing something good, God is guiding you. If you're doing something bad, the devil is telling you to do those things. And I'm like, where's the human? Where is your personal responsibility? Where is your power of choice?
Right. Accountability.
Hello? I said, honey, I know God is real because something is real. Even the people that don't call God God, they would say, the source, tune in. Close your eyes, tune in. We feel the white light, the gold light, the purple light, whatever color you choose. Feel it embodying you, just showering you. There is a source pouring. There is a source that put an order in this world, that you see that if one chromosome is off, you're not considered normal. You're in the spectrum. You're something else. There's a perfection to each one of our design, a human design, a bear design, an ant design. There's a perfection to the ecosystem. It's just the chance. What are the chances that this is by chance?
But Kenya, there's that shadow of a doubt when I'm not perfect. Because, in 2013, when I was initially diagnosed with cancer, I'm like, am I imperfect? Does God still exist? Does he still love me because of my imperfection? And so when I was diagnosed, the doctor back then, now mind you, this is when I would do in a career switch. I was working for Windstream downtown Tulsa as an engineer, working for the department there. And then I was doing part-time working at an inpatient hospital as a contractor. So I had no insurance. October 11th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m., a doctor calls me and says, I hate to tell you, but I don't want you to go through the weekend worrying you have cancer. And I'm like, didn't want me to worry? Now I'm really concerned about this because now it's Friday night. I can't do anything. Everything's out of my control.
Yeah.
She says, I want you to come in Monday. We're going to give you a referral. I want you to go down the street and get you an MRI. And I said, I don't have $5,000. She goes, it doesn't cost us $5,000. It's only $100. Really? Okay. So I go get it done. They examine it. Yes, you have two large tumors that are cancerous, that came back cancerous. Okay. What do? They gave me a referral. I go see a doctor. And of course, I pay out of pocket for him. And, when you have, he's a German, but he has a New York accent. It makes it even harder to kind of understand.
Sure.
Right. And he told me, you have 2 weeks, Steve, to get this operation because I'm very concerned that it is beyond mesticization. Out of the 20 years that he's been doing this, he says, I never seen anything like this before. Okay. I said, I don't have money. He says, I don't have insurance. He says, don't worry about it. You're a veteran. I'll knock off the $5,000. You got to work with the hospital. And because it's a Catholic hospital, then what we'll do is just go ahead and just talk to the hospital. So I'm like, I call my mom. I've decided I'm going to die because I don't have the money.
Wow.
Mom says, you are going to live. You're going to get online and you're going to apply for VA benefits. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not retired. She goes, no, they changed the way that veterans can get medical care because your cousin. Okay. Sunday night, I started applying on the computer to the VA thinking, what are the chances? So there's my unbelief. I'm like, God, it's up to you. Monday morning at 9:30, I'm sitting at my desk, get a phone call on my cell phone. Is this Mr. Hudgins? And I said, yes, ma'am, it is. She goes, this is a VA. You've been fully approved for full medical benefits to the VA.
Wow.
I said, really? She goes, yes. I told her my story. She goes, hold the phone. I'll be right back. comes back on the phone and says, today is the last day to come in for orientation because we're changing our VA cards and it's going to be about a month in order for us to get this together. Can you come in today at 1:30 for orientation? Yes, ma'am, I'll be there. Now I hadn't even talked to my boss. She says, I've also made an appointment at 7:30 in the morning Wednesday with a doctor because I want you to be seen. Yes, ma'am, I'll be there. Told my boss, took the rest of the day, go my orientation. Wednesday, VA nurse prays over me. Okay. This is a government hospital and okay, what's going on here? Go see doc. She says, yep, you have cancer, but I've got to refer you. And I said, ma'am, that takes about 30 to 40 days just to get a consult. She says, don't worry about it. She picks up the phone and calls to the regional hospital, which is about 45 minutes from Tulsa. It's in Muskogee VA Regional Hospital. Talks to the physician. He says, I so happen I'm going to be there this Saturday for a half a day clinic. Put him on my schedule. So I'm getting chill bumps at this time. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Saturday morning I go. Now, mind you, I have 2 weeks, and this is coming up for the end of the first week to get stuff done. Okay. He says, I know this is October and we're hitting into November right now. And our surgeon has gone on a sabbatical. He's from India and he won't be back until January. I said, doc, he says, don't worry about it. I'll put a consultant in it. Okay. I kid you not, Tuesday the following week, the local hospital, the one that the original doc said that he can do the surgery. Friday, can you come in at 5:30 in the morning to have your surgery to remove the cancer? Now, Kenya, we know in the news, we know by experience, the VA does not go that fast.
It takes forever.
Ever. Yes.
Ever.
For 2 weeks, I got the surgery needed. I went into 5 years of remission in 2013. And that story, you can't tell me that the creator, the source, the God, the Father, however you want to describe, does not exist. And so, listeners, our message is that, yes, we celebrated this Christmas and things go into a lull. The lights, everything goes into darkness after the first of the year because we stopped celebrating Christmas. And now we have New Year's and we got the fireworks going off in about 4 days for New Year's.
I would rephrase that. I would say we do not need to allow. We do not need to allow the first of the year be this rebound.
Correct.
I'm so glad it's over. Because it is beautiful. It is a beautiful time. That story you just shared, Steve, it is such a picture of divine synchronicity.
Oh, for sure.
So whatever way you are in the spectrum of believing in God, Stephen and I completely believe in God. I say God guide and stitched every layer. He weaved every layer of the story so you would be alive today. It wasn't your time. And for me, I waited 6 months. It was not a time of phone calls and cell phones. And 6 months later, my mom came to pick me up. And a few months later, then she finally came to America. And I can say that without energy today because I see that, well, thank God this happened because now I'm in America. This is the why that brought my mom to America, the fact that she lost everything. And she really was committed to put my sister and I through college. And just like here, college is very expensive in Brazil. And everywhere in the world, at least the options that my sister and I had. So God orchestrated everything and it didn't feel nice. It felt like abandonment. It felt like chaos. It felt like rejection. And the 11-year-old version of me did not understand. And yet, because I had a foundation of hope, of a faith of an 11-year-old, I would say, God, I'm not sure what's happening. But I would feel peace in my heart. And I actually remember moments of joy, moments of playing with the other girls, moments of finding God in the darkness. That's how the wise women would look back. So dear listeners, I don't know where you are in the spectrum of blessings coming out of Christmas. I don't know if your Christmas was amazing or if it was dark. I don't know. What I do know is that God is real. And he is carrying you right now. And if you raise your hand and you request for, would you please show me a different perspective so I could enjoy this moment? So I could see a different spectrum of me or my family or the hope of having a family. Maybe you were sitting in, I wish I had a family. I say right now, as you tap into God, God will fill that void. I know because he did to me. He did with me, for me, through me. And he still does it every day. Ooh, I have a good one. Are you ready? Let's take a big deep breath together. Okay. That 11-year-old version of me made a decision. And that is a decision that almost killed my marriage. I just had a few weeks ago. That decision was, when I get married, I will have the family of my dreams. And things are going to be perfect. When I become a mama, I will be the best mama. I will never leave them. And it almost killed me. This is why I became a homeschool mom, y'all.
You know, Kenya, we have these stories and we're about out of time. And one thing that I want to leave our listeners is, okay, I get it. I hear you. I hear a message that comes through stating that, okay, you guys, why did God help you, but it's not helping me, right? And for me, to understand God is to grasp the essence of a parent's love.
There we go.
It's finding him not only in the soaring heights of joy,
yes,
but also in the silent depths of pain, where every tear and every smile, it just echoes the profound, intertwined tapestry of existence. And so I know there's doubt. We had doubt. And oftentimes I believe that what we've been through helped us to discover 100%. A higher source, which is God for me. And so listeners, you know, as we wind out this year, can you go ahead?
I just want to say, raise your hand. He's right there. Just raise your hand, dare to ask if you're real, if you are on the spectrum of, I don't know if this is real, dare to ask. Call it divine synchronicity, call it angels, call the Holy Spirit, call whatever you want. Call it white light. He's real. He's the source of everything. He's the source of your expansion if you choose to see this way. It's not your suffering, it's your becoming. It's your coming back home to the love, to the infinite love. He's there right now. I know that because that's what I tap into it every day. So I see the bright side without attaching meanings. When I attach meaning, oh, this sucks, or this was so incredibly hard, or this is, now my brain waves create this neural pathway to find more of what the meaning I made. So if you decide that you are a son and daughter of God, because you are, but you get to decide that this is your new identity, then you know you're never alone. You know you're never abandoned. You know you're never left behind. You know it's there with you, through you, for you, and you have access to the unseen just like that. You know, so I'm covering you with that truth. I'm covering you with that truth right now.
It exactly. And here's what I want to end us with. because this is the last podcast. Well, yeah, this is the last podcast of this year.
Yes. Starting a new year.
We're starting a new year, and we all don't like pain. At the same time, if we embrace the pain, not saying that we enjoy it, I'm just saying recognizing, acknowledging it.
Yeah.
It helps us to get through that a lot easier. And when I think about here's a new year, a new beginning, I don't know what's in store. But all I know is that the celebration that we celebrated with Christ is what I call a celebration of life. And 2025 is a new era of celebrating life. And there's hope, there's joy that can be had. And it's putting into that mindset. And we started with this podcast, and I just want to end it with that. I wrote a piece that's called The Breath of Yahweh.
Yes, read that.
That I am the breath of Yahweh. And it is on CoachSoul.com under news and thoughts from a pen, because oftentimes Kenya and I will have articles that talk about various things. And we want to encourage our listeners. And so until next time, we wish you a happy new year, and we'll see you next year. Take care and God bless.
Happy New Year. We love you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on Coach Soul. As we wrap up, we want to remind our listeners of a few key points. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The content shared here is based on professional opinion but may not apply to everyone's situation. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your mental health care. If you're in a crisis, please seek immediate professional help or contact a crisis hotline. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship. For personal advice, please consult with your licensed mental health professional in your area. Remember, your mental health journey is unique. While we hope this information is helpful, it is crucial to work directly with the qualified personnel for your specific needs. Thank you again for tuning in to Coach Soul, and we'll see you next time.